At 7:45 on the morning of July 12, 1928, Foreman Dutch Hendricks stands knee-deep in muck beside Bay City Walking Dredge No. 492, 10 miles southeast of what will one day become Monroe Station. 38 years old, a Michigan transplant who followed the dredge work south, he watches limestone chunks settle into position while his crew of 6 sweats through another shift in the Everglades. The temperature already touches 92 degrees. Humidity wraps around everything like wet canvas. The dredge's 50-horsepower charter engine chugs its familiar rhythm, each piston stroke sending vibrations through the swamp. The machine weighs 11 tons, distributed across 4 massive corner shoes and 2 intermediary runners. It takes 30 seconds to complete one walking cycle, advancing 5 to 8 feet with each step. The 40-foot boom swings in a practiced arc, the 1-yard bucket biting into blasted limestone, hoisting it, dumping it to form the roadbed. They average 80 feet per 10-hour shift, sometimes more if the rock cooperates, sometimes less when the swamp fights back. Loop Road sits abandoned 3 miles to their south. The project that began in 1921, envisioned as the main east-west artery through the Everglades with Pinecrest as its commercial hub, died when Dade and Collier counties couldn't agree on routing. Collier's money and political weight pushed the Tamiami Trail north. When that highway opened 4 months ago in April, Loop Road's developers went bankrupt. The crews dispersed. The equipment sat idle in sawgrass and cypress hammocks, except for this one dredge. Hendricks secured a salvage contract to recover No. 492 and 3 smaller dragline rigs still sitting along the abandoned grade. And the walking dredge, stranded 8 miles from the nearest solid ground, presents the biggest challenge. You can't tow an 11-ton machine through the Everglades. You can't disassemble it. Too many rivets, too much structural integrity lost. You have to walk it out, which means building a temporary road beneath it as it moves, using the very technique it was designed to perform. The plan sounds simple. Use the dredge to dig a canal parallel to its path, pile the excavated limestone ahead of itself, walk forward onto the new fill, repeat. Self-sufficient earth moving. The machine creates its own escape route. Hendricks estimated 6 weeks to reach the Tamiami Trail. He's 3 days into the operation. The crew works in rotation. 2 men operate the dredge, 1 running the bucket, 1 managing the walking mechanism. 2 more spread the dumped rock, ensuring even distribution under the corner shoes. The remaining pair scout ahead, marking cypress knees and palmetto roots that could snag the runners. They wear knee-high leather boots without socks, letting their feet dry faster between submersions. Small palmetto frond fans hang from their belts, used to swat deer flies and mosquitoes that swarm in clouds thick enough to breathe. Under this video, you'll see a subscribe button, a small action with a big meaning. By pressing it, you're not only supporting the creation of more content like this, but you're also becoming part of the very exchange we've been talking about, giving and receiving in harmony. It's not about the size of the action, it's about the meaning. A simple subscription tells me these words reached you. It tells me that the effort, the late nights, and the discipline to bring this message forward mattered to someone on the other side of the screen. If you want to see how Hendricks and his crew escape this mechanical trap, please hit that like button. It helps us share more forgotten stories. Subscribe if you haven't already. Back to the Everglades, July 1928. By 9:30, they've advanced 60 feet. The boom operator, a Seminole man named Billy Cypress, who learned the machine's rhythms during the original construction, works with mechanical precision. Drop bucket, bite limestone, lift, swing, dump, return. Each cycle takes 45 seconds. The walking mechanism engages every 20 cycles, the corner shoes lifting, the intermediary runners extending, the entire frame shuffling forward with a grinding metal scrape that echoes across the wetland. At 10:15, Billy feels the bucket hit something that isn't limestone. The resistance comes wrong. Not the solid thunk of bedrock, not the granular give of crushed stone. Something dense, but yielding. He raises the boom, examines the bucket. Black muck clings to the steel. Organic matter mixed with clay. He dumps it aside, tries again 10 feet to the right. Same result. The canal they're digging, which should cut through 3 feet of sediment before reaching limestone, suddenly penetrates deeper. 5 feet, 6 feet. The bucket brings up nothing but decomposed sawgrass and peat. Hendricks wades forward to investigate. The water here looks no different from the water they've been working through all morning. Same tannin brown, same mirror still surface. But when he probes with a 12-foot surveying rod, it sinks to 8 feet before finding anything solid. He moves laterally, testing the perimeter. 40 feet wide, at least 60 feet long. An ancient sinkhole filled over centuries with organic debris. The limestone bedrock, which should sit 3 to 4 feet below the surface, has collapsed into a subterranean void. The walking dredge sits 20 feet from the sinkhole's edge. Hendricks calls for the operation to stop. They need to alter course, swing north, find solid limestone to continue building the temporary road. But the machine faces southeast. Its walking mechanism can turn, yes, but slowly, requiring the entire frame to pivot on the corner shoes while the runners reposition. While each directional change takes an hour, and it must be done on stable ground. The crew begins repositioning. The boom swings to the north side, dumping limestone to create a turning platform. Billy works carefully, placing each bucket load precisely. They need a foundation that won't shift under 11 tons of distributed weight. The corner shoes, each measuring 4 feet by 6 feet, exert 625 pounds per square foot. Low for construction equipment, but still enough to compress unstable fill. Show at 11:40 with the northern platform half completed, the dredge attempts its first directional step. The right front corner shoe lifts. The intermediary runners extend. Hydraulic pressure shifts the frame's weight, and the left rear corner shoe, still planted on the original roadbed, punches through. Not catastrophically, just 6 inches. But enough. The frame tilts 3 degrees. The boom swings uncontrolled, its momentum carrying it past the stopping point. The bucket splashes into the sinkhole. Billy kills the engine. The silence afterward feels profound. No more piston rhythm. No more metal grinding, just the sound of water lapping against steel and the electric hum of mosquitoes in the midday heat. Hendricks assesses. The left rear shoe has penetrated the limestone cap into softer substrate beneath. The right front shoe now carries too much weight. If they attempt to lift it, the entire machine could pivot backward, tipping into the sinkhole. If they try to lower it, the increased pressure could crack the limestone cap entirely, dropping the dredge into the organic fill. They need to redistribute weight. The solution: build up the ground beneath the tilted section. Pack limestone around the sunken shoe. Create a stable platform. Then complete the turn. For 3 hours, the crew works by hand. They haul limestone chunks from the canal, stack them beside the sunken shoe, pack smaller fragments into gaps. The rock resists. It wants to sink. The organic layer beneath acts like thick porridge, absorbing pressure without providing support. They add more stone, and more. By 2:30, they've poured 6 cubic yards of fill around the shoe. Hendricks decides to test the fill. They restart the engine, engage the walking mechanism. The left rear shoe lifts 1 inch. 2 inches. The frame begins to level. And then the fill beneath the right front shoe collapses. The entire dredge drops 4 degrees. The bucket, still submerged in the sinkhole, pulls the boom downward. The boom pulls the frame forward, and the frame, 11 tons of riveted steel, slides toward the organic pit. Billy engages the walking mechanism in reverse. The corner shoes try to grip. The intermediary runners extend backward, but the motion only accelerates the slide. The limestone fill, unconsolidated and unstable, acts like ball bearings under the shoes. The dredge gains momentum, 3 feet, 5 feet, 7 feet. The bucket disappears completely underwater. The boom angles down at 30 degrees. The front corner shoes reach the sinkhole's edge. At 3:12 in the afternoon, Bay City Walking Dredge number 492 tips forward into 8 feet of organic muck. The boom submerges first, followed by the engine housing. The 33-foot span frame, designed to distribute weight across swampland, becomes a lever working against itself. The rear corner shoes lift into the air as the front end sinks. Water floods the engine compartment. The charter engine dies with a hydraulic gasp. The machine settles at a 40-degree angle, its front half buried in decomposed sawgrass and peat, its rear section pointing skyward like a monument to miscalculation. Hendricks and his crew stand in waist-deep water watching 11 tons of specialized equipment slowly disappear. And the sinkhole, disturbed by the intrusion, releases gases trapped in anaerobic layers. Methane bubbles rise around the submerged frame. The smell of ancient decay fills the air. They attempt a recovery. For 2 days, they use the 3 smaller dragline rigs brought overland on portable tracks to cable the sunken dredge. The cables snap. The draglines lack the pulling power. On the 3rd day, Hendricks sends word to the salvage company. The dredge is a total loss. Number 492 remains there still, buried in the Everglades substrate 30 feet south of what became State Road 94. The loop road, eventually absorbed into Big Cypress National Preserve, now runs a quarter-mile west of the burial site. Park rangers know the location. Occasionally, during drought years when water levels drop, the top of the boom becomes visible, a rust-stained steel finger pointing at nothing. The machine that was designed to walk over impossible ground, that could distribute its weight across swampland where tracked vehicles would sink, built its own grave using its own capabilities. The temporary road it created to escape became the ramp it used to descend into permanent entombment. Baron Collier's Tamiami Trail succeeded. It carried traffic for 97 years until Interstate 75 provided a faster northern route. Loop Road remained a backwater, visited by hunters and birdwatchers and people seeking the kind of solitude that only exists in places development forgot. Hendricks collected his salvage payment minus the cost of the lost dredge. He moved to Fort Myers, operated heavy equipment during the land boom, died in 1957. Billy Cypress returned to the Miccosukee tribe, told the story of the walking machine that walked itself into the earth. The other crew members dispersed into the sprawl of South Florida's construction industry, building the hotels and subdivisions and highways that would reshape the peninsula. The salvage company wrote off number 492 as an operational loss. Insurance paid partial recovery. They never attempted another job in the Everglades. Of the 145 walking dredges manufactured by Bay City Dredge Works, 1 survives intact. Number 489, used on the main Tamiami Trail construction, sits preserved at Collier Seminole State Park. Designated a National Historic Mechanical Engineering Landmark in 1994, it serves as a monument to the men and machines that forced a road across the swamp. Tourists photograph it. Children climb on its runners. Interpretive signs explain the walking mechanism, the limestone excavation, the engineering triumph. Number 492 has no monument, no interpretive signs, no tourists. Just 8 feet of black water and 96 years of accumulated sediment. The Everglades reclaimed it completely, the way the Everglades reclaims everything given enough time. A rust and organic acid dissolved the steel. Alligators nest in the frame during dry season. The boom serves as a perch for anhinga and cormorants. In 1994, a research team from the University of Florida attempted to locate the wreck using ground-penetrating radar. They found anomalies consistent with buried metal, but the organic substrate and water table made precise location impossible. The project was abandoned. The dredge remains lost, somewhere in the preserve's 729,000 acres, and its exact position known only approximately, marked on old survey maps with a penciled X and the notation Dredge number 492, sunk July 12, 28. The irony persists. A machine built to extract limestone and build roads through impenetrable wetland couldn't extract itself. The very capability that made it valuable, its ability to create a path where none existed, became the mechanism of its destruction. It built its own grave, bucket load by bucket load, walking forward into subsidence. Well, if this story moved you, please like and subscribe. Your support helps us preserve these histories. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from.